What up, YouTube? It's Misrate's Company. We are covering the Blood Knight, and not just the Blood Knight, but the absolute best, and I feel very good about this, best farming build for the Blood Knight. I really wanted to farm as many essences as I could today, so that I could hopefully get close to doing this build, and then I was like, maybe I'll just substitute a few, but no, I got all of the essences that I was looking for the Blood Knight, and I could not be more excited to show you guys this build because it capitalizes on movement as well as just AoE damage, and it actually makes farming a lot of fun and really easy for the Blood Knight, which is going to be something you're going to spend the majority of your time doing as the Blood Knight, especially early on when you're farming all those essences in the overworld. So this build is going to make sure you do that as fast as possible. Let's get straight to it. All right, so we're going to cover the build itself here in a second. I am farming by myself, and I am on my PC. We're going to go by these mobs first, go all the way down here, past the hidden layer, go to our usual spot. We're going to skewer into these, and then bat away, which is not going to be doing the normal sort of damage, if you will. But as you can see, the skewer is going to help us jump to that next mob very quickly. Boom, there we are, transitioned well. And then as soon as that one's done, we're going to pop our bats, do AoE damage, and then go ahead and start going to the next area. And as you can see, our cooldowns are balancing up quite nicely, so we can jump to the next mob. I'm smiling because this is actually a really fun way of farming for the Blood Knight, and one that sort of eliminates its biggest weakness, which is movement speed, because you can literally just jump to all these different areas, and your cooldowns are very easy to manage, where I basically always have a skewer up and available if I need to. And yeah, it's hyper engaging. So super glad that I found this, all these essences like when I did. And it is effortlessly, makes farming just completely effortless because of how easy it is to manage the uptime of all these abilities. Even without the orb, I could have kept going, again, with close to no restrain. Oh yeah, it does a ton of damage too. I'm actually really excited for this build. And look, I mean, I have so many options for movement speed right now, and I'm still flying through everything that I have available to me. And boom, my AoE, jump over the tree. Mob just spawned. Go ahead and tab into the right ability there. Boop. Didn't really need to use skewer there, but it was up and available, so we used it. We use it because we can. Who knows what show that's from? It's one of my favorite shows. If you get in the comments, I'll pin it, I promise. Oh, we ran into an issue there. Oh, I let it fall off. Bummer. Probably could have managed my cooldowns a little bit better. But either way, you get the idea. It's actually super, super fun to use, and you do a ton of damage with it. So we're going to go ahead and teleport back to West March so I can show you guys this build. And like I said, I have all the essences for it, and it's a oops, that's the wrong one. Super easy to use. So I will be right back with the full breakdown of all of the essences you need, and most of which are really easy to find. All right, so here we are at the armory. So the full breakdown is going for the skills. I'm using Shadow's Edge for the main attack. Skewer, which is going to be that jump and leap and slam. We're using Spear Flurry, as well as Siphon Blood, and Swarm of Bats. Now, starting at the headpiece going down, the headpiece is probably one of the most important pieces, and it's going to be Horns of the Hexed. What it does is Siphon Blood is no longer channeled and now moves with you, dealing damage and drains the life of nearby enemies. Now, it's going to be on almost 100%, we'll say like 80%, 85% uptime. It could vary with your build. We are using 2% or 2-piece Vithus, so that helps with that as well. We'll go into the sec gear separately here in a second, but that is what I'm currently using for that. And this is a very much needed essence for this build because it helps translate in between the different mobs for that AoE damage. Next is going to be the shoulders, and that's going to be the Swarm of Bats. Now shrouds you in a fog of blood mist, increasing your movement speed and making you untargetable while also dealing damage to nearby enemies. Again, Vithus helps with this as well. It also gives you a bit of a speed boost when you use it, as you can see, increasing your movement speed and making you untargetable, so you are not able to take damage, which isn't really prevalent when it comes to overworld farming, but the movement speed is what is really helpful, and then obviously does a ton of damage. Now, main hand, I am using Reverent Hunter. So Siphon Blood also slows enemy movement speed by 30%, absorbing their vigor, increasing your movement speed by 10% up to 30%. So again, I'm using Siphon Blood. With this one, it's not gonna require me to channel it anymore. It'll just do the AoE damage for me, and then this make sure it speeds me up even faster. Now for the other main hand, we are using, this one's also very, very important to the build. So Leaping Smash. Skewer now causes you to leap into the air and slam into the target location, knocking enemies up and stunning them. Perfect. Now up here, we use the chess piece, which is going to be Cairo Terran trade. Swarm of Bats damage increased by 10%. Love that for us. And then for the pants, Made to Wander, this Spear Flurry now causes you to dash forward, damaging all enemies in your path. Spear Fury can be activated again up to 2 additional times. So I used it personally to just dart between the mobs to get there quicker. You could also space it out to, you know, like dart dash to one mob, blow them up with your autos, and then keep the other 2 dashes to go to the second mob. It's a really good option for that as well. Moving on is for the offhand is going to be Skewer also increases your damage done by 10% for 4 seconds. So as soon as we land with Skewer, we do 10% more damage for 4 seconds, which is plenty of time to blow up the mob that you're currently attacking, and maybe even start on the next mob depending on where you're farming and how close you are to the mobs. Now, last but not least is the other offhand, because obviously we are in Inferno difficulty, which is why we have 2 main hands and 2 offhands, in case you're new. So the offhand we're using is after Shadow's Edge hits an enemy, 2 blades ricochet out randomly, targeting nearby enemies and dealing 15,315 damage to them. So it's just an additional buff, if you will, to our auto attack or main attack, which is pretty good. So that is the build, and guys, it's so much fun to use. Like I said, for set pieces, we were using 2-piece Vithus, and unfortunately, I am 1 piece away from my I apparently do have my 4-piece Banquet. Are these are Banquet? Wow, I didn't even realize that. Hey, so we got 2-piece Vithus, so that way we get the increased duration of all beneficial effects on you or your party members by 30%. And then we are running Banquet of Eyes, which is the 2-piece damage dealt to enemies suffering from your continual damage effects increased by 15%. Your critical hit chance is increased by 2.5% up to 25% for every continual damage effect you inflict upon nearby enemies. Part of this is because I used to run the pants that gave you the poison that left the additional damage as well. So personally, when it comes to the 4-piece you want to use, there's so many different options for the Blood Knight. This is just what I have equipped, because when I jump to all my different builds, this is the one I'll probably be using the most often for high damage for dungeons as well as raids. Really, I just wanted the Vithus for this build. You could obviously do the one that makes your movement speed even faster, but at this current stage, I don't have a specific set gear that I would switch to just for farming. But there's honestly, you can't go wrong with most sets. I mean, the Gloom set would be really good for this build. There's so many different set items that would be really good. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I do feel very strongly that this is probably the most optimal farming build out there for the Blood Knight. But in the event that you find one that is better, let me know, or let me know what adjustments you would recommend. But honestly, guys, this one is a lot of fun and very easy to use. So let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. Until next time, block it in.